Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We're about to get started in about a minute. So if you haven't already, go ahead and put your full name in the chat below with your full name of your organization, your position, and your email for attendance. If you are proxying or representing your president, let us know who you're proxying for, your president, and then let us know that so we can make sure we have their email as well. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I appreciate you being here. So, just to let you know, in case you're new here, this is the Interorganizational Council. We meet every month, and so we're glad that you're joining us. Again, if you're just joining us, I see some people have just joined us. Go ahead and put your full name, your full organization name, your position, and your email in the chat box for attendance. And if you are proxying or you're the VP, let us know who your president is as well, and put their email in the chat box as well. Okay, so we can get your attendance. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're going to go ahead and move into our agenda for today. And today we're going to be focusing on a few things. We're going to go over some housekeeping again, as well as update on our SGA guidelines, look at some volunteer opportunities we have, as well as an update on our 2021 budget allocation, an update on our resource room, as well as a mini workshop on goal setting and inclusive programming. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First things first, right? Like we said last month when we met, make sure you are listed as a primary contact on XConnect. Now, how do you do this, right? I know some of you reached out to me about having an organization on XConnect. If you are brand new, right, in your organization, with, you're just starting out with, sorry about that, you're just starting out with your organization, make sure that you go to XConnect. And when you do so, click on organizations. When you click on organizations in that top tab area, you'll see on the left sidebar, register a new organization. And when you do so, it'll give you a list of current organizations that are inactive. And so if you are the president of an organization that has recently become reactivated, then you could do that or register a brand new organization. Once you do that, then it'll go to the Center for Student Involvement, who will do what they need to do. All right. When you do so, it'll ask you a lot of questions about who you want to add to XConnect and all of that stuff to that portal. Make sure though that when your organization is created, or if you are taking over that organization, even now, some of us have issues with that, make sure you're listed as a primary contact on XConnect so you can get all the information. We will soon be transitioning back to just IOC presidents getting information on IOC instead of the entire student body. I think we're doing pretty well with the attendance list right now, so we'll soon be transitioning back. Please also understand that links for events cannot be posted to social media. We're noticing that students are posting the Zoom links on social media, but we'd ask that it's only being posted via email, closed group chats, or on XConnect, so we can limit any type of Zoom bombing or people coming in and doing inappropriate things, all right? Also understand we're still required to hold at least 3 community service events and 3 organization events this semester. That doesn't include your general body meetings, so keep that in mind. And as you know, IOC and student body meeting attendance is noted as well. And I'm currently working on the financial issues that were presented after February's meeting. I know a number of you met with me then after February's meeting, and so I'm working on that right now. All right, this is just a refresher on our SGA guidelines. Like we said last month, we want to make aware that make sure if you're receiving funding that you're looking out for our rules, follow Zula_SGA to make sure that you're staying updated on everything that we have going out. Our in-person meetings are still limited to 10 people or less. In-person events will also have restrictions. And you can refer to the Executive Order 77002 for more information on those guidelines. I will advise y'all to keep an eye out. There's going to be more information coming out now that we are doing pretty well on COVID numbers, on returning more and more into that in-person capacity that we used to having. Also, volunteering, volunteer opportunities. So, like I said earlier, we are required to have at least 3 community service events, and you can volunteer with volunteer services beginning next week. Signups will be open on XConnect, but Ms. Deshania Ware, who is the coordinator for leadership development, has shared that you can reach out to her directly. So dware5@zula.edu is her email. You can reach out to her, take a little screenshot of this or take a picture, and you can reach out to her directly to make sure your organizations are up to par. Let's see. Okay, I was just advised here. So presidents should be listed as a president in their portal as well. So make sure that you're listed as the president in your portal. All right. And that's the XConnect portal, by the way. So earlier today, I just received the spring 2021 allocation numbers. Thankfully, we've been waiting for weeks. But until that is finalized and it's shared, all organizations, you can all request funding from the Center for the fall 2020 allocation now. So if you are a recognized organization, you can go into XConnect and request funding, and the Senate will pull that funding from last semester's rollover funding. So keep that in mind. I'll be meeting with the Vice President for Fiscal Services tomorrow to discuss this issue, being that we're just about 5 to 6 weeks into school and we're just receiving the numbers. Understand that this delay isn't really Center for Student Involvement or Student Affairs. Part of it I know is external to the university, waiting on kind of enrollment numbers. However, there is a part of this that's played by certain offices in the university that are not proactively handling this issue. And so tomorrow I'll be discussing this issue with the Vice President for Fiscal Services to see if we can not only not have this issue anymore, but get our rollover numbers, get our spring semester numbers more quickly if possible. We're also going to discuss the possibility of releasing some of those funds or having an approximate number of our funds released in the beginning of every year so that as organizations, you're not handicapped every fall semester from putting on programming. All right, and resource room update. So it is painted white and green up in there just to keep it vibrant, but there is a layout now. I've been working with facility planning, and our Deputy Chief of Staff, Sharon Ogbonna, has also been working with facility planning and management, which is an office, to conceptualize how it's going to look moving forward. And here's the floor plan that they provided. So if you see the floor plan, if you are familiar with our resource room, you walk in through these doors right here. And at this side over here is the Office of Inclusion and Social Justice. And then here's the SGA office. And so they're gonna, we've worked with them to put some high counters along the wall, and then put these tables in the middle. Now, the point of this is that you can also use them as work tables, and we're going to make sure they're protected, but you can also use this area as a conference space for your meetings. The goal is that through the IOC, you'd be able to request this room at certain times to use for meetings or for different things you have going on that are internal. So you don't always have to go through the university, and sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes they're overbooked and all of that. But in this area, it's more interactive, where you can spread out the tables in the area, or you can bring them together for a nice little conference room style table. We're gonna stock it with a few whiteboards and things of that sort as well, but it's still a work room. So we wanted to have those tables that can be separated so you can work on certain projects if it's arts and crafts related, but bring them together for a meeting as well. And yeah, that's the resource room. So we're working on this. The update here is they're currently going to re-clean the floors, and then we're looking at purchasing everything within the next 2 weeks or so. Last time I got an update. So before the end of this year, this room should be complete. All right. Y'all have any questions, any comments about anything that I just touched on? This is your opportunity. You can drop it in the chat box, or just unmute your mic or raise your hand and I can call on you. All righty, we're going to go ahead and jump into our seminar on goal setting and inclusive programming tips. So this is our opportunity to speak with a few of our SGA members who will be speaking on this matter. So I believe goal setting at first is Tia Alexander, our Chief Justice. So Tia, if you're on, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and you can take over.
Yeah, guys. So, hi, thank you for having me this evening. Today, I'm just going to give a brief refresher seminar on goal setting and the importance it is for making sure your organization aligns with your purpose. So, first, I'm going to start us off with a brief activity. You can participate by typing your answer in the chat below. But my first question for you guys is to first identify the purpose of your organization in the chat. And everybody doesn't have to do it, just maybe at least 2 or 3 people type their organization's purpose in the chat. All right, we got 2 purposes in the chat so far. Spreading education about the COVID-19 vaccine, serve the P4 class in all endeavors to the best of our ability, to encourage. These are some really cool purposes, guys. Thank you for sharing. Can you hit the side again, Emmanuel? The next question I have for you guys is to also identify goals that you currently have set for your organization. So, what are some goals that you guys currently have set for your respective organizations? To speak on the Judicial Council, I know one goal that we had maybe for the entire school year was to really solidify our processes. Since we were newly reinstated this school year, one goal that we had was to make sure all of our judicial proceedings and our processes were set in stone by the end of the school year so that the next council, whoever they are, can come in next school year and know what to do, if that makes sense. Our goal this semester is to not only help those in need, but to do it in a safe way in regards to the pandemic. That's a good one. To increase engagement. Thank you. Thanks for all the feedback. These are really good goals. Can you hit the next slide, Emmanuel? So with that information in mind, I'll go ahead and tell you goal setting provides a way for organizations to make the most out of their time and resources as they work in line with their purpose. And understanding your purpose can help you appropriately set these goals because they'll help foster the growth of your organization from here on out. Aligning your goals with the purpose of your organization also allows you to budget appropriately and prepare for the Senate budget hearing.
And so it's really crucial right here to keep that in mind, that last part, especially now that I do have the numbers, and we'll be releasing the budget soon. As you're going to start requesting money from the Senate, think about how does each thing that you have for your budget for the semester, how does it play into your organization and help you grow more? So keep that in mind as we move forward.
And so with that in mind, we're just gonna go ahead and refresh ourselves briefly on what SMART goals are. Everybody should know what this is. This is like XU Leads one-on-one. Quick, somebody in the chat tell me, do they remember what the acronym SMART goals stand for? This is going a little bit far back, so if you don't remember, it's cool, I guess. Not cool, but it's cool. You can go ahead and hit the next item.
I was trying to figure out what it stands for. Hold up. I was trying to see what it, SMART goals. What does SMART goals stand for? You got specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and then time-based.
Maybe, let's see, hit the next slide.
Oh, look at me, I tried. A little bit.
So yeah, SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So long as you set your goals with these ideas in mind, your goals are, I'm not going to say valid, but there are good goals that you have in set for your organization. Do you guys have any questions about setting goals or any of the information before we move on to our last activity? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, and then before I close out, one last question. How can you guys realign the goals that you currently have in place with the purpose of your organization if it isn't aligned already? Just one person before we go. Anybody? Talk with your advisor? Sure, why not? Your advisor is there to advise and help you make sure your goals are in place with your organization. So yeah, if you have any more questions, I'll be here throughout the rest of the meeting. You can message me privately. And thank you for your time.
Thank y'all.
So we have this last workshop here, an inclusive XU, where Neka's going to speak. She's our SG Director of Diversity and Inclusion. And so she's going to speak a bit about how through programming and how y'all kind of communicate and market things, you can be a bit more inclusive in what we do to engage more and more of the student body, and even in your areas, more and more of the people that speak to your niches as well. Neka?
All right. Hello, everybody. Okay, so my name is Neka Okbor, and as Emmanuel already said, I'm the Director of Diversity and Inclusion here at Xavier. And so we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So we can move on to the next slide now. So we're going to be talking about implementing more inclusive programming. So that really starts out with being mindful about how you're promoting your events. So this means advertising in places where there are lots of student traffic. So that includes the student residence halls, which includes the Mikes, KD, DP, the L, the Hilton, and UNO. And also just using your social media platforms in a strategic way. So that includes creating physical flyers with your social media tags on those flyers. So this is really helpful for commuter students, even though they may not be on campus as much as those that live on campus. When they are on campus, if they see your flyer with a social media tag, they can always add your student organization on social media and then keep up with y'all's current events that way. And then just also obviously creating virtual flyers that you can post on your social media pages as well, so that the rest of the student body can keep up with what's going on. And then also just keeping your social media pages up to date on current events. So, if you have your organization's Instagram page up right now, and the last post was from 2018 or 2019, you definitely want to keep everybody informed, all of your followers informed on what you guys are currently doing, what you guys are currently working at, and also update your bios as well, as you are starting to make new goals for your club, and if you guys have changed your initiatives at all. And then also just making sure that you are placing your advertisements on or at popular on-campus student hangout spots. So along with the residence halls, you should also make sure that you're putting flyers in the UC, possibly the CSI office, the Center for Student Involvement, the admin, NCF building, the annex, the library, on-campus eateries, St. Joe's, Safer South, elevators, all of that. And then last but not least, as Emmanuel already stated, make sure to post your links if you have virtual events such as Zoom or whatever other links that you're using. Make sure to put those on XConnect. And then when you create your flyers, make sure that the flyer does not have the Zoom link on it. And the flyer instead should just direct students to XConnect so that they can access the link there. And yeah, so we'll go on to the next slide now. Okay, and another very, very key part of inclusive programming is also communication. Communication is key, and that goes for communication with your student leaders as well as the rest of the student body. So with your student leaders, if you ever want to collaborate with student leaders or a Big Five organization in terms of your event, this can really help you reach a broader audience by doing collabs. Also advertising your events in a timely manner. So still, if you want to use a Big Five organization to advertise your event, maybe on their page. So for example, if you wanted to do an event where you collab with SGA, or you just wanted SGA to post it so that you can get more attention for your event, you have to do that. You have to reach out to us within a timely manner, meaning like 2 to 3 weeks in advance, so that we can be able to do that for you so you can have as much attendance as possible for your event. And then also consistently checking and responding to email. So when you're communicating with student leaders, like obviously, like we're all very, very busy. So we want to make sure that in order for us to make your event a priority, you have to be on top of us. You have to be on top of your email. Make sure to respond quickly and to check your email consistently. And if you can, so you can always find student leader contacts on XConnect, or you can just like reach out through email if you know like the person's name, and you can find their email, through your account. But if you absolutely cannot find out who to reach out to, you can always go to our SGA Chief of Staff or SGA Deputy Chief of Staff, and they can better direct you to a person in SGA or in another organization who can best fit your needs. And so I can put those contacts for our Chief of Staff and our deputy in the chat for y'all so that you have that there. Okay. All right. So, okay, those are the contacts in the chat there for y'all. And yeah, okay. So in terms of communicating better with the student body, this is very, very essential. Because when you communicate with the student body, you guys are here to serve the rest of our students on campus. And so by doing this, you get a better sense of what times really work for students in terms of events so that people can attend at times that best work for them. Um, and also just communicating with the student body helps you to really reevaluate your purpose as an organization so that you can address the topics that are relevant to students and to the members of your organizations. So an example of how to do this is really by creating a survey, and maybe you want to send out a survey to the members of your organization just to ask if they feel like you are fulfilling your purpose as a club, if you're addressing the issues and the topics that are important to them. Maybe having an open discussion where people can just express their needs or their concerns or what they want from you as an organization. And then also just displaying your organization in the UC. So maybe that's like creating a poster and just allowing students to see what you're about. So you can talk to them, let them know what your club is, what are your initiatives, and then just get a better sense of what the students' needs are in terms of diversity and inclusion. And overall, this just really helps your club grow in terms of just you knowing what you need to do to fulfill the needs of the student body, and then also just growing your membership on top of that. Okay, so we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so we're gonna do a brief activity. Okay, so out of all the things that we talked about, which is mindful advertising, better communication with student leaders, and then better communication with the student body. Just let me know in the chat if you guys have already implemented any of these practices in your organization, and then whether or not that's been effective for you so far. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and pick 2 of those answers, and I will share just any 2 of those. All right. Okay, so, all right. So if you are not sure if you've already implemented any of these practices, maybe we can think about ways in which we can do better in maybe communicating with student leaders or the student body, or just ways to do more mindful advertising. So does anyone have any suggestions about that? Okay. Okay, so I see that. Okay, so I see somebody said here to just be more active on social media. Yes, that's always a good thing to do. And as I said before with social media, um, just being more mindful to post like your flyers on there, and then making sure your handles are also included on your flyers so that people can always keep up with what you're doing. Okay, and then somebody else said just making flyers more eye-catching, but not word heavy. Yes, that's very important because when it comes to flyers, nobody wants to read a whole bunch of words because a lot of people have a short attention span or they just don't really feel like reading it. So you always want to make sure that you're catching people's attention and that you're making your flyers look very fun and inviting so that people will want to come out and be involved in your event. All right, thank you guys so much. So we're gonna move on now.
All right. Thank you so much, NECA and Tia. I appreciate that. All right. So the last thing we have to do to this evening is to go over some important dates. All right. So the first things first, we have our class meeting next week, as well as a Senate meeting next week and March 23rd. So it's going to be March 9th for our class meeting and our Senate meeting, and then March 23rd for our Senate meeting as well. We also have an Empowerment Men's Summit that we're gonna put on March 16th. It's a Tuesday at 6 p.m. CST. And we have Exit Girls Rock that Thursday at 6 p.m. as well, CST, on March 18th. So I encourage you, all men and all women, we have a men's summit for you and Exit Girls Rock as well going on March 18th. We're looking at doing it in person, so more information will come as to how we do that. Of course, health and safety comes first, but I encourage you, it's gonna be an event you do not wanna miss. So I encourage you to get that on your calendars as soon as possible. We also have our student body meeting Tuesday, March 30th at 12:15 p.m. CST. And our next IOC meeting will be Monday, April 5th at 5 p.m. CST. So I saw there was a bit of confusion about that. My apologies. But the IOC meetings are every month on a Monday at 5 p.m. CST, not 6 p.m. CST. So my apologies on that. All right. Now, the last thing is this. We do have voting that has begun, and it does end tomorrow at 4 p.m. CST. So I encourage you to visit the voting link in the chat. If you have any issues with voting, or there are some issues that some people have shared with me that they might be in a different classification than they anticipated. Most of the time, it's because of their credit hours. But if it's a different issue like that, then you can visit the office of the University Center office. It's going to be UC 316R here at the University Center, and they will have paper ballots for you. But try the voting link first. It's the easiest way to vote from wherever you are. But starting tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and today, well, today is ended now, but 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow, there will be paper ballots available if you have any issues with voting. You can send an email to Ms. Nikki Bannister Lee if you have any issues, or even easier, send an email to sgaelections@zula.edu and they'll be able to help you as well. All right. Any questions or comments about anything? All right, then with that, we can go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. And yeah, I'll see you next month.
Have a great week.
You too.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you all.